First review of the year, first book of the year, and first actor autobiography I have ever read. Vanity will get you somewhere. Joseph Cotten. Who is Joseph Cotten, you ask? Well, Joseph Cotten has been one of my favorite actors for a long time. I first saw him as suave but sinister Uncle Charlie in Shadow of a Doubt when I was 9 or 10. I've seen a lot of Hitchcock movies, but I still consider this my favorite of his black and white films, and I try to watch it at least once a year. As a kid, the only other thing I knew Cotten from was Niagara with Marilyn Monroe, so I had this notion that he only played heavy, dark, murderous roles. But then in my teens, when I started really getting into old movies, I saw more of his work and realized that, more often than not, he was actually the good guy, a charming, laid-back leading man who took on dramatic, romantic, even comedic roles with ease. I think my first sample of this was in Gaslight, in which he plays the heroic stranger who saves Ingrid Bergman. Still, it took me a while to stop saying, "I can't believe Uncle Charlie's being so nice." My other favorite Joe Cotten movie is The Third Man. Whole essays have been written about The Third Man and how awesome it is, so I'll just say it's another movie I try to watch every time it's on. I love the characters, the acting, the directing, the quotable lines, the look of post-war Vienna, and that quirky zither music. You shouldn't miss it. Honestly, I want to recommend all the movies I'm mentioning here. Citizen Kane, his first movie, Justly Famous, and a good watch to boot. Since You Went Away, a great tearjerker about families on the home front during World War II. The Farmer's Daughter, the scene where Loretta Young gives Cotten that almost violent Swedish massage, must be one of his funniest moments. And you know what? Just looking at these pictures is making me want to watch these movies all over again, and to even dig up some that I haven't seen yet. Vanity Will Get You Somewhere was less like reading a book and more like sitting and having a 5-day-long conversation with Joseph Cotten. It was so him. You could tell that he was just sitting there, and it's like when you go to a nursing home and all the old guys get around and they start telling war stories and they're like, "I remember the time." It was just so fun to just watch him meander along through reminiscences of his life. And if you don't know anything about classic movies or his work, you will get a little bit confused, maybe. He's not really telling you everything. There's plenty of passing mentions of people that you're like, well, hey, I want to know how you got to meet that person. You know, what did you think of them? But he's just going along, and he doesn't feel like he needs to tell you everything. It's mostly focused on highlights, I'd say. Obviously, I wanted to read this because he's one of my favorites, but I also wanted to know more about his friendship with Orson Welles, and how he got along with his other co-stars, and why he was in so many movies with Jennifer Jones, and why he was so late coming into movies. You know, he was already in his late 30s, I think, and why in his later career he made so many, I don't want to say terrible movies, but some of them are pretty bad. And I figured it was going to be kind of humorous, but he was a really funny guy, and he got along with pretty much everyone he worked with. It seems like he was friends with everyone he worked with, and even people that he didn't make any movies with, but he just knew them from Hollywood and stuff. I think he was just one of those guys that puts everyone at their ease and makes you feel comfortable and you want to hang out with him, and it was just really fun to see this different aspect of one of my favorite actors and to know more about him and his personal life. And, you know, he wasn't a paragon of perfection all the time. His first marriage was rough. He made some mistakes in his life, but he recognized those and he did his best to rectify them. He was very humble about his success and very much like, I'm just doing this job. A really ordinary person who ended up making some really good friends and getting some really good roles. I wish that he'd written more, because I think he could have written some good stuff. Really honest and frank and funny, and some really nice expressions and imagery and stuff. So for my first actor autobiography, I'm glad that I picked a good one, and that it didn't completely ruin my opinion of the actor, because that could happen very easily. But it didn't happen here, so it's good. I still like the guy, even more so now. Now shoo, go watch some of those movies.